Having enough is enough. If we look at some words here, if I say something is good good? Okay, here's the word enough. Is enough enough? If we have enough shelter, enough money, enough food, is it good? What about good enough? Most people think good enough, that there's a better in there. But in reality, good and enough is a good way to be, to have that balance. So that's kind of where perfect enough comes from. To really think about perfectionism is the ability to say, if it doesn't exist, then I'm always striving for something that doesn't exist. I find a lot of kids these days come in and they're working so diligently and they're doing so many things and they're not getting to that place of enough. They can't seem to equal out what they think is the right thing to do, the right place to be, or the right mindset. So what we want to do is find that if we do it correctly, correct is a good way of doing things, isn't it? If I do it correct. So really to think about what we're doing is finding the perfect enough mindset for everything that we do so we can have happiness and balance forever. That's kind of a nice thought, isn't it? I just came from a funeral this afternoon. A friend of mine's mother passed away, 83 years old. She had Parkinson's disease. Do you know in the last years of her life she was a ballroom dancer and did competition? This last week she got sick and got really sick. 2 days before she got sick she was dancing at a competition. She discovered that dancing helped her keep her balance and helped her keep her body going. And she was this little petite woman, really cute. And so all the pictures we saw today of all of her beautiful gowns and good competitions all over. But that was her joy. So she found something that made her feel really good and she went after it. Even with Parkinson's disease. I think that's kind of a really mindset of thinking of what makes you feel good, to have the balance and the happiness, to find that joy. Because the outcome, what we want with confidence, is to have the resources and the happiness and the balance that we need, no matter what's happening in our life. It's another way of realizing that I am perfect enough. You know, I'm not perfect. I have 2 of my kids here. I'm sure they can let y'all know that I'm not perfect. I am just who I am. I do the best I know how, and that's all I can do. And I take what I've learned in life and I attempt to help other people with that knowledge. Is it perfect? No. So I always go, time out, guys. I wrote the book Perfect Enough. I'm not perfect. But what I strive to be is happy. I really do work on that part of the equation because I believe in this stuff. I believe in what I do. 4 building blocks of change. What drives us is our subconscious mind. We can access the subconscious mind level and change it. Because the subconscious is literal, it does not distinguish between imaginary and reality. Anybody worry in this room? Anybody make mountains out of molehills? And consciously, do you think that's real or imagined?
It's imagined.
Imagined. So what I try to say to everybody is that we use the same imagination to make molehills out of mountains. Because that imagination has created it, why not install in ourselves the ability to do the opposite of what's going to help us accomplish that? And reality is, the learned response of how we are can be changed. Bruce Lipton does all these studies about proving that DNA is learned behavior. I like that because if DNA is learned behavior, then it can be relearned and reprogrammed. And isn't that what we want to do when we want to improve something? And in reality, it's the principles that change our life that we can change ours. If there's something we do we don't like that we do, we can work on that and change it. You're just going to go through this, only a couple of slides, because everybody in here really understands. The conscious mind is 12% of the brain to function. Analyze, reasoning, short-term memory, willpower. It's the monitor to your computer. That's your conscious mind. The subconscious mind is 88%. Your habits, your emotions, your long-term memory, your self-preservation, it's the hard drive. One is not good without the other. So we're our storage of habits, since 97% of what we do every day is by habit. Do you realize your brain memorizes the speed limit wherever you drive, and you drive that speed limit? If you're always 5 miles over the speed limit, or 10 miles over the speed, you're always going to be that. And the mind automatically memorizes that. And you go with that mindset. Because as we memorize things, they become our habits. I mean, how many people woke up this morning and said, oh my gosh, it's Sunday, I better wear clothes to leave the house? You got them, got dressed. And what did you say, Paul? Sunday's the day you don't know. But in reality, if we can make all of our habits be positive, we can become more positive in everything, but we really work on it. We absorb so much negativity by the environment that we're in. Watching the news. I went to bed the other night, and we usually don't watch the news before we go to bed. We really work on not doing that. For some reason, my husband wanted to see what the weather was going to be. So we watched it. And just before the TV goes off, there's a news flash. They had found out the identity of this woman that had been killed in Singer Island. Her name was Smith. What was her first name? I just lost it. Susan Smith. And I know a Susan Smith, and I just seen her at Capitol Girl the other night, and I'm going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Where am I? Who's going to call me tomorrow? What's going to happen? What's my week going to be like? I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking about it. Woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning thinking about it. Woke up. We got up. Ed went on his iPhone. I went on mine. We were looking at obituaries. We were doing everything. And finally said, I got to get ready for work. I go get in the shower, and Ed comes and opens up the door. He says, she was 83 years old. Wrong one. Now, I took information, and I used my imagination. And I created what? Anxiety, stress, a sleepless night. And in reality, it was just not the real person. It was somebody else. I felt bad for that person that she got a lot of extra prayers that night. You know, but wasn't the person that I needed to change my schedule for. But see how I took a bit of information. I didn't find out the facts. What I should have done was gotten up right then and done it, and I stayed awake all night. Do we get other information that we worry about? Do we see something on the news that might not touch our lives, but we're going to worry about it? Because there's a lot of that going on, isn't there? Reality is being in control of how we respond to it. But if our old behaviors are responding to it in a negative way, how are we going to respond to it? Negatively. We have so many meta programs in our brain, from parents, from teachers, from all kinds of things that make us respond to certain things a certain way. Before a kid learns to drive, they've already sat in the car with their parent while they've driven. They already know to stop at red lights. They know what stop signs are. They already have that programmed in their brain from being in the car. So in order to create change, we must tap into the 88%, the hard drive. Because it's what drives us. The unknown to us, it's often what we don't realize is why we are responding. The unknown responses, the meta programs, the information that was put in there by other people, by other events in our lives. Why do we react that way to certain things? You know, I had one kid come in the other day, and he says he hates math. And I go, really? And I go, do you know anybody that hates math? My mother hates math. Now, you think he really hated math when he first started learning it? But his mother hated it, so he learned to hate math before he even knew what math was. That's a meta program. We get them by our religious backgrounds. We get them by what teachers, everything. We get them all in programs. So we want to look at the driving force, if it's not rational, is often unknown to us. We have to discover what it is that's causing it. This is a little graph about the brain that we've gone over. The critical factor in the conscious mind is what we bypass with hypnosis. So we have the unconscious. Now, in writing my last book, we have found unconscious and subconscious to be interchangeable. The way it was taught to me from Omni Hypnosis School was the unconscious is the autoimmune system, the immune system, the body functions and everything is in the deeper part. Well, what they're proving now is that really the unconscious, subconscious are pretty close, and that it can actually be reprogrammed to help health. You know, you can get a better image of your body getting healthier, and the mind will produce that healthier body along with everything else, just like other hypnosis can help. Scientifically, for surgery, if you use hypnosis, you take less anesthesia and you heal twice as fast. So you have a lot of connectors that really make it where the unconscious and subconscious mind come together. Because we have an unconscious competence and an unconscious confidence that we deal with. Those are our inner belief systems. We access this hypnosis. Everybody in here know what hypnosis is. I mean, I've hypnotized everybody in this room, I think. I haven't hypnotized you. Have I hypnotized you? Have you? Well, not that you know of. Let me tell you, honey. Yes. Oh, I haven't hypnotized you. Yeah, that's right. Soon. Tonight. And we also teach about self-hypnosis. We all go in and out of self-hypnosis all the time. Anybody ever daydream? Self-hypnosis. We all do it. We get hypnotized by the traffic. We get hypnotized by music. We get hypnotized by the TV. We are in and out of hypnosis all day long. It's just learning what it is and what it means. So the subconscious being little and powerful, we must look at the subconscious mind as our power source to what we are. What you think is what you become. In order to change, you must change the way you think. Is that easy? If you consciously try to do that, it becomes very difficult sometimes. And I don't even like the word difficult. Because what happens is that mindset, the natural laws of the mind are you are what you think, and your thoughts create a physical reaction. Anybody ever see a snake and get afraid? Or a car pulling out in front of you and you get startled or stage fright or what? A thought creates a physical reaction, and we respond to our thoughts. And your imagination, back to the imagination, is more powerful than knowledge. I go over this a lot because this is the core of what we have to work with. Expect it to be realized, the imagination becomes more powerful because we have to work on it, and your attitude about the matter is your choice. Do you want to change? Do you want to increase your self-confidence? Do you want to change your talk to positive self-talk? Do you want to attract more positive in your life? Because self-fulfilling prophecies are the thoughts create what we manifest in our life. Anybody ever read the book The Secret? They talk about the boards where you put everything on it. We're going to go through it in another way during this process here to get y'all to do it. We accept what we think in our thoughts is we tend to we replace with another idea, the other one is forgotten. So we can replace thoughts. So when you replace thoughts, the other ones kind of get put somewhere else in the brain. They're still there and they can be reminisced. You can bring out the memory bank. 88% of your brain, your long-term memory, has everything stored in there. Anybody remember being a child on a certain birthday? A special birthday? I remember when I got a slalom water ski. I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old. It was the most exciting Christmas birthday was Christmas that I can remember because I had 2 older brothers and an older sister, and when I skied, I had to put my foot into their size of ski and hold it on with my toes. So all of a sudden, on Christmas morning, I got a ski that my foot fit in. Do you think that made an impression in my brain? I remember that Christmas more than any other Christmas. That's the one that stands out first one, I think. But there's a reason why there was more to it than just getting a little slalom ski for Christmas. It had meaning. It meant I didn't have to hold the ski on with my toes. And so that became very exciting to me. So I couldn't wait to get out in the boat and try it. But the mindset of what I was replacing in our minds as we think thoughts, we create more energy with our thoughts. Someone came in the other day and she's fighting depression. And she looks at me and she says, I got to tell you about something new I found on the internet. It's where they put these trail cams, these GoPro cameras on nest, and there's an osprey nest, and she's all excited and she's so happy, and she's telling me about watching these ospreys and how they, and I go, wow, you're really happy. When were you depressed? Oh, 3 days ago. And she tells me this story about something happened. I go, is that chemical or is that environmental depression? Environmental by her thoughts. So what did we work on? Whenever she didn't feel good, thinking about the osprey nest. She had a couple other ones. They were a pretty cool website. But so we can use our thoughts to change how we feel wherever we are, whenever we need to. I went in to get my second MRI in 3 weeks on Tuesday. I go in and the guy says, are you claustrophobic? Are you going to have trouble going in this machine? I'm like, thanks for the suggestion. Actually, no. I will just hypnotize myself. He said, what? I said, I'll just hypnotize myself. Don't, just put me in. So he pulls me out. I was so deep he had to wake me up. He went, wow, I need to teach all my patients this. Everybody's had an MRI. Clicks, click, 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 click. So every time it clicked, I went deeper, deeper, deeper. I was imagining Lake Summit, deeper, deeper. Using my thoughts. Once the idea is accepted, replacing with the new idea. He suggested claustrophobia. I suggested hypnosis and going deeper and deeper with the MRI. When the longer the idea remains, the more opposition there is, replacing it with a new idea. I had already taught myself how to do that. Could I have done that the first time if I just went in for an MRI? Probably not. Because it is kind of, I hate to use this word, claustrophobic, you know, but you have to do it. I was so excited to get this MRI. I'm lying there going, God, how many weeks does it take me to get this MRI? Yeah, I was begging for this particular MRI, but the doctor made me go get my eyes checked, maybe go get a brain MRI, so I spent like 3 weeks of testing to finally get it. So I got in it with a what? A different attitude. Does your attitude affect how you respond to things? If you're like upset about something, you go to do something, does it really ruin what you're doing? And if you're upset about something else and something else occurs, does that go over in how you respond to the other thing? Are you still reacting to what pissed you off at the office in your home and something didn't go just right? Are you responding to that or to that? Usually, cumulative. It adds up, doesn't it? Because that's where the blood pressure goes up, the physical body changes. So what happens in your life is purely neutral. It becomes negative or positive only by the way you respond to it. This is a really important process that if we can grab hold of this, that let things in life be neutral, because the mindset is that process of how we respond. If it's neutral when it's coming in, what's making it positive or negative? Our programming. One person can drive on the interstate and love it, and one person can't get on the ramp. One person can read a book in the car, and the other one can't. One person can fly. All of these are programs that are causing the response to what they're thought. Every thought causes that physical reaction by what's programmed in the brain. To learn to change, we also use NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It's a principle which gives you the power to alter your perceptions through visualization. That's the theater of your mind. To change. Triggering correct responses with anchoring a new response in. Y'all have all heard me say this one, that we have one anchor in common, a red light. You see a red light, you don't go, oh, there's a red light, I think I need to lift up my foot and put on the brake. You put on the brakes. Some people in Palm Beach County don't, but we know that's an anchor. So if we have other things that we are anchoring a response to, then can we change the response to the anchor? Yes. I had a kid that was getting in some trouble for yelling and everything. Well, then the mother comes in and says she yells, and then the father comes in and he's trying to not get them to yell. Well, what's the anchor is the response is the yell. If this one hears it, this one hears it, what is everybody doing? Creating the same response. To change it, it is the domino effect. This one stops, this one stops, this one stops. But to change the mindset, you have to use the theater of the mind to come up with another way of anchoring by reframing, getting a new context, getting a new definition, getting another response, so that you can reframe that context by putting it all together. So we know that the behavior is in a real life mindset. Mitch and I were talking earlier today. If you look at any of the presidential candidates or presidents that we've had, Obama, Clinton was really good, they're heavily trained in NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, where they have certain techniques about how good they are, or how everything's bad over here, but this is good, and they step into the good, and they become the good. Or you love this, and now you love this. Now y'all love me. In the process, it's the behavior of knowing how to set the principles, the attitudes, the techniques in real life behavior. What do you need to change in your real life behavior to keep control of this? This is what rules us. In knowing that mindset, you know, it is the realization of the change. So techniques and processes help us to attract the right person, create ideal relationships, advance your career, make more money, increase motivation and energy, create your desired self-image, produce the kind of results you want for peak performance. That's what we're here, that's what the whole Discover process is to find that perfect enough person you that you want to be, and to step into that and become it. You can teach an old dog new tricks. You can. It was really kind of interesting. Today we're driving back and we're talking about how old we are, my husband and I. He looked at me and says, you know, we've lived 75% of our life. I went, wow, that kind of took some different perspective on things. You know, what's our 5-year plan, you know? And we were talking, we were driving along. I said, you know, last week we were supposed to have been skiing out in Utah, and it got canceled because of this particular person that got sick that ended up passing away. So we ended up I ended up not working as many hours, and he ended up not working as many hours. I actually can tell y'all what he stayed home to do, to build little steps so our little Jack Russell that can't jump on the bed anymore can get in bed without us picking her up. He's building special stairs for Juliet. So that's his project for his last week. So in talking about that, you know, we were kind of chuckling because we have created this way that we do things. Is there any other way we want to do it? What are we going to do? I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what I want to go do. So then he said the next sentence, yeah, we only have 25 left. I went, 25 years? And he said, 25%. I went, that's a kind of a, I'm turning 58 this year, and he's 62. So you think about what those ages add up to be, you know, with the 5-year plan and etc. You kind of want to figure out, if you're not happy, how to get happy. If you're not doing what you like, how to do what you like. and you figure out what you need to change. And in that mindset, it is finding this process. Your self-confidence. When I wrote Perfect Enough, we went to each chapter, we have the definition of what the chapter is about. At that time, which was a few years ago, self-confidence wasn't not in the book. You had to look up self and confidence. Now you can look up self-confidence. It's in there, in Wikipedia and all the different places you can Google. What is self-confidence? Is it believing in yourself? Is it liking yourself? I had a lady in my chair yesterday who has had lots of eating disorders for 72 years of her life, and she's really, really thin. She looks at me and says, you know, when I look in the mirror, I see a fat person. She says, can't you change that, Laura? I go, yeah, we can change that, but you have to be willing to do this, this, and this. So her subconscious mind had a different program in it about her own image, which wasn't what? Real, because 88 doesn't know the difference. So she's having issues because of that image. Do any of us have images in our minds of something we don't like or don't want, that we want to change or we want to do differently? The mindset is knowing from insecure to empowered. You know, what is it? What is empowered? What would you like to be doing that you're not doing? Is there anything? Because you're going to have some work to do on that in a minute. Self-talk. Do you say to yourself things you wouldn't say to your own best friend? Have you ever said anything bad to yourself, or angry at yourself, or criticized yourself? I'm sure no one in this room has. We all do. Because we're taught to, actually. Because criticism supposedly is helpful. Because we find out where we need to work on. What is criticism? It's not helpful. It's not a mindset of a good thing. So we want to find what is elevating in our self-talk, and sometimes we think we're saying it correctly, and maybe we're not. Evaluating our own talk. Because what do you hear most in your head? Your self-talk. That chit-chat. I took a course years ago, and it was teaching the difference between male brains and female brains. Female brains think all over the place. Males think in compartments. If they're in that compartment, they don't switch gears very easily. Unfortunately, I taught my husband this. So now when I go meet him somewhere, the other night we met at P.F. Chang's, I said, hi honey, what are you doing? He says, not much. I go, what are you thinking about? He says, I'm in the no thought compartment right now. All right, never mind. But it's like when they're busy doing something, it's hard to switch gears. Sometimes we think too much as women because we don't shut up. Sometimes I have so much on my mind, it goes, what are you doing? I'll get up in the middle of the night, and he says, you emptying your brain? So I'll run in the kitchen, I'll just write everything that's on my mind, then I'll go back to bed. Now the next morning, I didn't have glasses on when I did that, and I can't read what I wrote, but at least it got out of my brain, I went back to sleep. So self-confidence, to believe in yourself, to trust yourself, to accept yourself. That is very important. It's probably one of the most important things that I deal with in my chair. It's amazing how many kids have zero self-confidence. Zero.
People you wouldn't expect.
People you wouldn't. Larissa now is a practicing hypnotherapist, and she said people you wouldn't even expect. It's surprising. I mean, I work with a high level of equestrians for, dressage and hunter jumpers. And the ones that are in the Olympics, you start talking about self-confidence, and they'll give you a whole list of things that are wrong with them. I go, really? Yeah, but their sport has become their confidence. So they're there to find themselves and build themselves back up. And to really think about this, the firm belief in the power and the abilities that you're capable of. To share that, to help somebody with that. That mindset is the ability to do that. And for kids, How great to help a kid have some confidence. And confidence that's balanced so they're not self-destructive. Because stress does what? If someone isn't equaling what they're striving for, it creates stress. Stress tears down everything. Stress causes disease. Stress causes lots of things. Realizing that, looking outside myself for strength and confidence, but it comes from within. It's there all the time. All of us have it inside of us to find it, to use it, to build upon it. Sometimes I wish I could just take and put a slit in somebody's head and put the CD in and hit copy. But they've got to listen to it. So right now, your self-confidence. Where are you on the scale? I think this is in your book. Page 9. So think about that just for a minute. I want you to really kind of think about what your confidence level is. Because what we're going to do is go through the discover process from this chart. And we're going to work on it. So everybody have an idea where their confidence level is?
I think that's difficult because I think it also depends on the situation. If it's a work situation or a social situation.
Good point. Good point. Think about which one it is that you want to work on. Where do
You work on the other one because you're already self-confident in that one.
Good point.
More fun.
More fun. Find something you want to improve with your confidence. Is there some area, maybe at work, like you mentioned, a relationship, in life? Like our conversation today was about our self-confidence about getting older. What do we want to do? You know, I really haven't thought about looking. To me, the last 13 years have just been me building this business and working to build, you know, what I've been doing. I've kind of had blinders on, haven't I? I still enjoy life. I still go fishing and go to North Carolina and go on wonderful trips. But my blinders have caused me to look at things right now that I've had them on. And I'm turning 58 this year, and then I'm sitting in the funeral doing the math, you know, going, God, do I want to go dance? No, but what do I want to go do? You know, to think about that. So maybe my self-confidence scale would be to figure out what my next 5-year plan is. Do you have a plan, Paul?
Absolutely.
Yours is what? How many years?
April 2015.
So 2-year plan.
2-year plan.
He's got a 2-year plan for retirement. That's pretty cool. So we came up in a car driving up here. We have a 5-year plan. So we're going to try to figure out a 5-year plan. Don't ask me what I'm going to do in 5 years, but so think about this, because what we want to do, find someplace where you're not confident that you want confidence. Is it building a business? Is it motherhood? Is it retirement? But building a business, changing careers, doing your career, building your career, building your, you know, that's what we all look toward, figuring out our confidence in doing that. Decide to change. Now this is in your companion book. This is what we're going to go through. I want you to spend a few minutes. You can either use this book or this book. I've given you both. And I want you to think about what it is that you would like to change. If your self-confidence is not at a level that makes you feel like you can do anything, your first step is to decide to do something about it. Acknowledge that you'd like to move from insecure to empowered. In the space below, write about what your decision is, or to change the status of that. What is it? I acknowledge that I'm perfect enough. I recognize and embrace this opportunity to enhance my self-confidence. What do you want to change? You can either write it in your PowerPoint presentation, or this is your book to take home. So let's take 5 minutes and do that. And if anybody wants to do a potty break during that 5 minutes, because we're right on the hour. But I want you to take just 5 minutes and put something in there. Something you want to change that has to do with your confidence and how you are every day. What's something you want to have different? So everybody kind of thought of something that they want to work on in their self-confidence.
We're not supposed to have food in your water.
In the water. It went out of the bottle, up in the air, and at Larissa. So everybody kind of thought about something they want to work on. Because I think that, well, the purpose of this class is to make change. The purpose of the Discover process is to actually have a transition in your life. To actually make the process, deciding to do that is going to give you the first steps. So in the form of the process that we're walking through, you know that you have come up with an idea. Now, right now, with what you wrote down, what are your fears? What is creating your feelings of insecurity? What are you afraid of? Now, I'm going to talk about fear for a moment, because a lot of times when we don't make change, the reason we don't is fear. Fear is a basis of what happens subconsciously, either to the part of fear of not succeeding, fear of succeeding. The fear goes into a lot of variables. You know, what we fear most sometimes is what we create, because fear itself becomes that what? Mountain out of a molehill. Because what does the brain do? It goes haywire with the imagination, whether it's real or imagined. So we take the thought process, because a fear can be created, and list the fears, give them a name, decide the date of birth, you know, what you recall, the circumstance that brought on the fear in your life. Okay, I'll give you a metaphor here. One of my biggest fears when I became a hypnotherapist was public speaking. When I go back and had to be hypnotized to overcome that fear, do you know public speaking people fear more than death? Death is like 5th on the list and public speaking is 1st. Yeah. So think about that. So my fear, so my imagination was, I was reverting back to high school when I was in 11th grade and I had trouble in drama class and I got made fun of and I got actually kicked out of drama class at Rosarian. And then they put me in choir and I didn't have a good voice. So I got kicked out of choir too. They made a special study hall for me. So I know. The comment was, look at all I do for Rosarian now. I've been doing their auction every year for 20, I think we figured out last year was my 26th or 27th year. Yes. Yes. So for me to overcome that fear was huge. It was like a major thing. You know, for those of y'all that don't know the story, which I think most everybody in the room does, I never thought I'd become a hypnotherapist. 13 years ago, my mentor passed away, and I came home from her funeral and with this torch in my hand, and I said, what am I going to do the next 50 years of my life? And my husband says, you do it. I go, well, there's no way I can be a hypnotist. I didn't like my voice recorded. I couldn't speak, and I would not go in a room to hypnotize somebody. And Ed said to me in his wonderful wisdom, if hypnosis works, you can be hypnotized to do all three. So pretty much a month later, I was off at hypnosis school, my first day of internship. In walks somebody. There are the cameras upstairs on the room that you have to go through this little process, and I have a panic attack. So I say that they kept me after school that day, and I haven't stopped since. the next day I hypnotized, I think, 5 people in a row, and I've kept going from there. So in the mindset of what the subconscious mind fears are, my fear really had nothing to do with reality, did it? It was self-preservation of the subconscious mind was keeping me from that because I might get embarrassed. The fear of what? Being embarrassed. The fear of failure. The fear of getting up here and having a southern accent. The fear of coming up here and not reading something right because of my dyslexic problem. You know, whatever it was. But those fears got overridden with the new program because I identified them and created a way to what? Overcome them. I overcame them with the use of hypnosis by all the things we talked about before. The reframing, the theater of my mind, to where, bless you, to where I changed the image of my ability. And then that came what? My new program. So we're going to take just a couple minutes. I want you to go through this with me. Because what we want to do is actually use in the session today a way for you to get rid of these fears. So take a moment. Let's do 3 minutes because everybody already went to the bathroom, needed to go. And write down what your fear is related to what your self-confident transition you would like to make. What do you think you fear most about that transition? Identify your fear. Think about that for a minute. What is it? We're going to do the next step. We're going to do the theater of the mind exercise, and we're going to take care of it. First, we need to think of the fear. What creates a feeling of insecurity? What are you afraid of? One of the sentences that's in here I want to read out loud while y'all are doing this is, remember, you cannot master something if you don't know it well. So your fear has to be something we have to become familiar with and work on that fear. Yes.
Not how it, you said how it relates to.
Well, it goes into more things, giving it a name, describing the day it was born, recalling it, the circumstances. I think right now, let's get the fear, because I'm going to do these exercises with you. We're actually going to take the fear, then we're going to do the next part, then we're actually going to do a session here, and I'm going to help get rid of it. We're going to go through the whole process. But we need to know what it is first. So my fear of public speaking was being made fun of, being laughed at.
Mine would be like afraid of being successful.
Yes.
My clients not liking me.
Yes.
Those are,
Those are fears.
but they're right?
Yes, they're correct. Yeah. Those are good ones. And sometimes fear doesn't have to be what we have learned. It could be something that we learn from a parent. You know, sometimes fear of money sometimes has come from a mind log of belief system that money's bad, or it's hard to get, or it's hard to, you know, there's sometimes a fear that creates that hurts. But fear of success, sometimes, you know, the biggest fear of success is the failure part. Instead of believing just that you can be successful, it's the fear of rejection. Like, can I use that for an example? Like cold calling and going and knocking on doors?
I'm not afraid of that.
You're not afraid of that, but that's a good example for me to use, so I'm not picking on you.
Mine is like when I get in there, they're not going to like me.
Okay, well then I'll use his since he just announced it. He's afraid of getting in there and they're not going to like him. Which, in reality, I know that that is not a real fear for him because everybody likes him.
No, it's still a real fear. It may not be reality.
It might be it's a real fear, but it's not a logical fear.
Right.
It's a real fear, but not logical. How many of your clients from last year renewed this year? Come on, 100%. They don't like him. So it's not a logical fear, it's an unconscious, incorrect fear.
But a fear that debilitates me.
Correct. Good point. But that's what Paul was saying. Because it's a real fear, it means it affects you.
It's like, it's like I had dinner with a friend the other night. I remember telling you after I did a review, and, she's having a lot of problems, but everybody's problems when they're sitting in front of them are real and huge to them, even though her problems are on a whole other level than mine are, and mine really, at the end of the day, really aren't that bad, but mine today are huge, do you know what I mean?
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to learn what they are so we can use these techniques that we're going to go through in here to get rid of them when you have them. You can take this book, and I teach this class now after practicing for 13 years. I taught this class one other time 2 years ago, but I use this with my clients. These are some of the ones I did a lot with these at the Sari Center working with cancer patients. Really using these techniques, and it helps you transition. In my life coaching clients and everything, we actually get rid of what's keeping you from moving forward. Even though he's admitting this now, he's overcome so many more of those to be top salesman last year. See, we've already done a lot of the changing. Now we're honing in because he wants to go to the next level. But we got to clear the path because he still has this fear. We haven't worked on this particular one. So he's using this class to get rid of some more stuff so we can go forward. So let's take the fear and figure out what the process is. And I'm going to skip over the exercise of theater of the mind because I'm going to do that in the hypnosis session. We're going to do one hypnosis session to do all of self-confidence. So the next one is self-inquiry. Visualize and think about past successes. It's an excellent way to build confidence and self-esteem. What you think about is what you become. Therefore, when you concentrate on success, you help create future successes. What are some of your successes? Write down some of your successes. I have two of my successes in the room tonight, Larissa and Edward.
And two of your greatest fears.
Yes. Good point.
Sorry, I just know you too well.
We're going to use this information in a minute, so when you write it down, just know by becoming aware of it, you're going to have an opportunity to use it to move forward. So as we think about our self-inquiry, we want to find those processes of be able to think of the things that are good. How often a day do you think about the good things that you do? I mean, how often do you actually say, That's a mindset. I know I have a habit that I created years ago. When I go to bed every night, I think I believe in God, so I always say my prayers. Thank you for all the good things that have come and all the wonderful things that are in my life. I tell people I live a very privileged life. I get to do what I like to do, and I have a nice home, a wonderful husband, and I think I have 2 great kids. Wonderful kids, actually. And I believe that, and I also feel the process of what I've taught here is what I've used. Actually, through the years, Dorothy we used to go to California and do classes and go through all this stuff. So a lot of what I have are the notes I took then and put them in this form. So time to remind yourself. Do you remind yourself in the day the good things that are good? Do you wake up in a good mood and think about what's positive? Or do we look at what's wrong and criticize? I know there's another part, there's a tremendous energy that comes in my office a lot, is jealousy. People get jealous of other people, so I call it the big J. Does the big J interfere in your life or interfere with people associating with you? The big J does get in the way. So when you're thinking about the mindset of what you want to believe, you remind yourself of positive experiences because you want the self-confidence that you're brave, that you're smart, that you can do anything that you put your mind to. I guarantee that. Anything you want to put your mind to, you can do. And I stand here, and I've done that. I've built a very successful practice. I've done a lot of things. And it's because my blinders work really well. I stay focused on what I want to get done, and I get it done. Not always the easy way. How many lessons have I learned? A lot. That's why when someone comes to me, I can life coach them and tell them how to do it. Because here, just do this, just copy this, just do this, and do it this way. So when you do something well, tell yourself that. Compliment yourself. Compliment your ability to stay focused. Compliment your ability to your children that you raise. How many people in here have kids? Oh, you have Coco. You don't have a kid yet. I don't have a grandchild yet.
She's going to announce it.
I want to have kids. How many kids? I did. How many people have kids? I said no. She thought I said want. So do you want kids? Yes. We're including you, Larissa. So in our mindset of having a child, do we criticize that child or are we happy with how the child's doing? Because why? Because we know more.
Well, I think also because we want better for them, and we think that we are more objective.
Because we're smarter?
No, because they're not thinking clearly.
Because we're older?
No, because we think more clearly.
But think about that. So think about yourself in that term also. You also do that to yourselves. To be more clear about oneself, it is to be what? Aware of it. So I want you to know that the mental and emotional issues that are manifested in our lives come from what we have as our thoughts. We manifest physical problems too. Disease is dis-ease. Louise Hay writes a lot of books about that, and I read them. And sitting at the Cancer Institute, I could go home and guess what this person's issues were about the cancer they had, and I'd go check what her studies show, and I was right on 99% of the time. Yeah. So knowing that is really to become aware of it. It's coming to the forefront right now. So we want to look at those difficulties and say, well, where are we bringing obstacles into our life? What are we doing? My MRI showed My neck had not changed in 2 years. That's what we were going, my orthopedic surgeon. But when the doctor read it, I have a cyst on my thyroid. Now, I don't know. I've got to go to another doctor now, and I've got to have a biopsy, and I've got all kinds of things to do. But it answers some of the questions of some difficulties that I've been having that I thought I was losing my mind. But so now I know why I've had these difficulties. That wasn't what I thought I was going to orthopedic for, but for some reason I kept pushing myself to get this MRI. Those that know me closely, I've been fighting to get in for this MRI to the point where I was denied by the insurance, so I went ahead and had one I paid for myself, then went to the orthopedic. So I've been through a lot to get there. So I'm researching what does the thyroid do. So I'm learning a lot about the thyroid right now. So my mindset is I could either worry about it and start thinking of all the chit-chat of my clients that have had thyroid issues or thyroid cancer and all this, and then I can go what? Crazy. Or I can put all that information in a box and say I'll wait to get to the doctor. That's what I choose to do. So it's a mindset, but it takes what? Control of thought. That's what I want to go over with y'all. Because what I want you to do now is realize as we go through the next parts of this, we are going to actually find another mindset to think. What are some of the 10 reasons to dislike yourself? Too short, too tall, you're not attractive, you're never going to do well, you can't make friends, you worry about everything, you don't like your work, you're always waiting for something bad to happen. Anybody know anybody that's waiting for the other shoe to drop? Ever heard that statement? What does that mean? The shoe dropping is bad? It's an idiom of nonsense if you ask my personal opinion, but the other shoe to drop, I tell the story about an idiom. I had this 9-year-old little girl in my chair in Wellington, and above the door it says, live, love, and laugh. She goes, live, love, is that an idiom? And I'm like, I don't know. I grabbed my cell phone. I go, let's check it. And I couldn't remember what an idiom was. So I'm Googling idiom, and she thinks I'm looking up whether live, love, and laugh is an idiom. I pulled it off really well, I must admit. Don't we love our iPhones? I go, no, it's not an idiom, but this is a good idiom. She had me going pretty well. Thinking of the mindset of how we function. What do you criticize in your life? What shoe are you waiting to drop? You're never going to meet someone, you're not smart enough, you're not thin enough, you're too thin. What is the mindset? In reality, I had a kid come in the other day. She's in the magnet medical program at one of the schools here in town in 7th or 8th grade. And she's telling me how dumb she is. She's, I'm not smart enough to make straight A's. I'm like, what? Yes, you are. So in the process of that, someone's at the door. Okay. Do any of y'all have any of these negative thoughts inside of your brain? You criticize yourself at all? We're going to stop it. So what we're going to do now is go through this visualization process, and I'm going to go, there are 3 exercises that you can learn and do inside of your brain whenever you need to, whenever the conscious level. This is a conscious level process that you can memorize. You can instant change of state. That's where you're in an unpleasant thought. Simply assure yourself that the most important experience in this moment is relaxing. Like I got that instant change of state when I went in the MRI machine, right? Someone suggested claustrophobia. I could have latched onto that and had what? Panic, anxiety. A thought creates a physical reaction. That could have created a physical reaction. Instead, I did a change of state. I faced my fear of the closed machine being slid in there, and I started thinking of Lake Summit, and started changing my state. So this is one y'all can learn. Facing your fears, slowly desensitize yourself to the effect and repeat the exposure over and over so you realize in your head the greater the actual process is of the harm of the thought, you can replace it with a good thought. Anybody ever sit on an airplane and the person next to you is taking half of your seat and you're sitting like this? And so instead of getting angry and upset and having 4 hours of stress, change your state. I put my headphones on and Edward's like, I put my headphones on and I'm hypnotized. Put my neck brace on, put my headphones on, and I'm somewhere else. We went on a trip to Italy. It was for my 50th birthday, Ed and I, and we fly economy because we want to use the money over there to do something else. So here I am with my headphones and my little iPod, and I get in there and I'm in the middle seat. I got 2 people. He has a kid kicking him in the back. I have a kid kicking me in the back, and I'm out. He spent the whole trip mad that I had hypnosis in my ears. So the next trip we went on, he says, I'll go with you if you get me my own iPod and my own headphones so I can be hypnotized the whole trip too, because that was not fun. And he did. So the next trip, he actually flew over for a long weekend because I was working over there, and he did the CD, because when we got to Italy, he slept for a whole day, and I'm out seeing Venice by myself. So he didn't like that. So he started listening to No Jet Lag and used it. But my mindset, this is what I want you to think about, the unpleasant thought that enters your mind. Simply assure yourself that the most powerful experience in the moment is to relax. I am feeling that you can relax yourself. And when you say this, you're diminishing the power of the fear and its effects upon you. See where we're going with this? In an instant state of change, you are in control of your own self. You're in control of your nervous system. You're in control of every part of your breathing. Anxiety. Anxiety, you cannot have pain without a thought. Even with pain, you can do this. You divert your thought to something that feels good. So you change the thought and you feel better. I gave the example of a lady that loved watching the nest of the ospreys. I like to look for eagles. So in a change of state is that mindset. Breath work. These are 3 exercises here, and we're going to go through them. Breath work, breathing. How many people realize that when you have anxiety, you're not breathing? When you're stressed, you're not breathing. When something's bothering you, you're not breathing. To practice your breath work. There's lots of breathing exercises. Yoga teaches you a lot. I give you a simple one in here. To breathe in, to represent the tension and release. When your breath is blocked, the body and the mind are blocked. In a state of this performance mindset, oxygen to your brain is how you function. A lot of test taking, when someone has test taking anxiety, they're holding their breath. That causes them to not do well on the test. So we're miracle workers. We hypnotize them that every time they sit down and take a test, they breathe and they do better. So the breath work is the flow that you are learning to create and letting the tension go. And the purpose is the balance and happiness that you achieve by having oxygen to your brain. Everybody take a big breath right now. And just let it out. Just think about breathing. Blowing away your fears. This is the one that I want to really go over with, because this is in your brain, in your imagination. As we do the session in a minute, we're going to do this during a session where you imagine the fear that you wrote down on your paper and you're going to blow it away. I use this a lot with my clients for performance anxiety, or a certain show, or a certain thing that might happen, or a fear of something bad happening, or using it, because the mind, if you blow it away, guess what 88% of the brain does? It blows it away. It lets it go, because 88% of your brain will do what you ask it to do. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to do these, and then the next part, y'all have to kind of come up with an idea for it. So when I do the hypnosis session with you, you have somebody in your mind. It is modeling self-confidence. Who represents self-confidence to you? Who's somebody in your mind that you look up to, that you have in your mind that would be a good role model of someone confident, maybe in the field that you're in, or maybe something that you want to go do? And we're going to actually do this in the session. Take a moment and write down what are your thoughts and feelings about this. The next step is after we do it. So you just need to come up with the person and the things you like about the person. What are you modeling that person for? I know as we go to the board next, there's certain people I put on my board for role modeling. I really like Sally Fields. I think she does a great job. I think she just is a neat person that seems to have her life together. I don't know, but she portrays that. Another one is Adrienne Arpel. I like watching her. She has a lot of, I've seen her speak at a couple places. So on my boards, I think I have those two women is kind of I look up to, and I think they're kind of neat. Oh, my next sentence was going to be a good one. Older women. Excuse me. Shoot. Somebody asked me my age the other day. I went 37. I go, no, I'm not. 57. I don't even know my own age. I'm not grown up yet.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Don't want to grow up. No, I teach people we want to be Pollyanna-like or Scarlett O'Hara-like. I'll think about that tomorrow. I like Scarlett O'Hara. I'll think about that tomorrow. So who represents confidence to you? We're going to do this session after we go through the board. What we're going to do here today, I'm going to hand out boards to you. Anybody ever, we talked about The Secret where they have the board. Well, the Discover Process and Laura King and Perfect Enough have you do the board, but we do it in sections relating to each one of the keys. Self-confidence, positive self-talk. We want to relate to the confidence process. This is one of mine. So we have the self-confidence, the self-talk, the persistence, life and aliveness, health, love, prosperity, and meaning. Those are the keys in the book. So what we're going to do in this class is take a little bit of time after we do the hypnosis session and do a board, and we've got magazines, we've got scissors and pens, and you can pick out some things, or you can choose to look through some magazines and get some things at home for each one of the chapters, because I would like for us to do each one of these, because this is one of the mindset. The brain produces what it sees. So if you have a board, there are a lot of things on this board that have become a reality in my life. And it's interesting how it all transpired, and all because of what was on here. I kept mind-setting it. Actually, I put Alaska on there, and I really, when I did this one, I wasn't too sure I'd ever go to Alaska. Anyway, we went for my husband's 60th birthday 2 years ago, so I have gone to Alaska. The big sailboat is a boat that we're going to go on, the Royal Clipper. I got a new ring after that. The house plan is for a piece of property I have in North Carolina that I'd like to build a house on. I didn't get that one, but my family built a new one in North Carolina at Lake Summit. So, some of the stuff has happened. Retire happy, friends, health and wellness. So there's a lot of words. Control, equality, 2020, inside. I got a little cheerleader on there because I'm going to cheerlead in my life. I'm kind of cheering people on. I love eagles and hawks. I put them, they make me feel good. And I have prosperity. I have money on there. Attracting money. What is attracting? That means that I make it, that I earn it. And I have that on there for my transition. I have Africa on there, but my trip's been canceled twice. I will make it one day. I need to redo my board. A lot of this is things that have already happened, so that's one thing. I just had Edward take a picture of it, so I had a sample of what I'm talking about. There were things I would keep from this board because I am thinking about retiring now. So I have some of this stuff in my mind. So what we do is we formulate the board to match what we're doing in the sections. I don't know why I picked that girl. The other board has Sally Fields on it. I think she looks confident and happy. This is one of my older ones. I don't know when I did this one. A long time ago. It's when I got Bear Lake. So that's what we're going to do. So this is the outcome board, and you match pictures that equal that. Now we're going to do a relaxation session, and I want to give everybody a bathroom break right now for 10 minutes. So meet back here at 11:45. You have 10 minutes. Because it's going to be a really good session. So y'all, we're going to use what y'all have written down and actually be able to release and clear some negativity.
It was a nice wallet.
It was a nice wallet. I can't believe. She sends me these pictures of the CDs. I'm like, I like how I wouldn't believe her.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes. I showed you.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny, right?
Did he eat the CDs?
Yeah.
And then pooped on one of it. Had poop on it. You said, I guess that's what he thinks of my CDs.
Negative.
Oh, God.
Terrible.
Everybody get comfortable. I want you to take a moment. Think about what your fear is. Think about what you want to be your outcome to build your self-confidence. How do you perceive a shift in your personality, whatever? How would a shift in confidence help you? In what area do you need it? What area do you want it to be activated, stimulated, used to help you in your life? Personally, career, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want, you go to that place. Okay. Close your eyes and listen to the sound of my voice. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to open and close your eyes. When you close your eyes, you relax easily, automatically, and naturally. Okay, now open your eyes and close your eyes and relax deeper and deeper as we go to a place inside of the subconscious mind to turbocharge change in your life, to help you with what you want to get help with. Because this class is about making a change, making a difference, and discovering what you need and what you want to be different in your life. From insecure to empowered, to mindset to identify what you need to release. So just go along with me and know that you too can change your subconscious mind. So just listen to the sound of my voice. In a moment, I'm going to count from 100 to 93. With each number that I say, you say the number privately to yourself in the privacy of your own mind. With each number that we say, you go deeper and deeper. Relax. Comfortable in your chair, comfortable sitting here, just relax. Staying upright in your chair as you relax, or just allow the mind to let go. 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93. Deeper, deeper, deeper. Relax. Notice your breath. Taking a breath in and exhaling, letting go. As you practice your breath, your mind is going to help you regulate the way you want to breathe. An instant state of change is accessing your mind and simply assuring yourself that the power, that the mindset is that you can shift, facing your fears and releasing. So I want you to imagine right now that out in front of you, I want you to imagine your hand. And in your hand, I want you to see whatever you fear. Whatever fear that there is that you wrote down on your piece of paper, or any other ones that came to mind as we were going through class tonight. I want you to imagine your biggest fear, the biggest thing that you fear most. Put it in your hand, imagine, visualize, and pretend. As you see that fear there, I want you to imagine just blowing that fear away. Now you can practice that in your everyday life. You can remember that. And now I want you to imagine that as you blow away your fear, you're going to release and clear every unhappy experience of the past connected with your self-confidence. So I want you to imagine as you blew your fear away, right there to the right-hand side is a large dry erase board. Imagine, visualize, pretend. And on the dry erase board, it has all of the things in your life that have created an unhappy experience, an unhappy mindset of anything that has to do with what you want to work on tonight. Whatever you know that created a lack of confidence. Whatever or whomever, whatever was said. Maybe it was something that was said to you somewhere. The capability of knowing that as you see all the negative, all the past negativity that is affecting you, that is affecting your self-confidence, it's on the board. Every negative, self-destructive, harmful impression ever made upon you is on the board. Yes, it is. You're ready today to release that level in your subconscious mind. So imagine right now taking the eraser and erase that board. 1, swish. 2, swish. 3, swish. 4, swish. The board is clean, clear, crisp. Release and clear. Release and clear. So as your mind knows that the thing that you've decided to change, I want you to write on the board right now the knowledge and recognize what you want to embrace is the opportunity to enhance your self-confidence. Write on the board, I am confident, strong, and brave today and for the rest of my life. Write that on the board. As your mind knows, as you are writing that on the board, I am strong, confident, and brave today and for the rest of my life. The ability for new cells to replace old cells with positive self-confidence. The guidance in your mind replaces the positive conditioning, the pattern in which it works for you. The reason that you are here is learning how you can transform and change and get more energy and excitement to know the reality that is exciting for you. Instructing your deeper mind and replacing and renewing old patterns concerning self-confidence with new instructions to release these old patterns as you release and clear them. The next sentence I want you to write is I am, and put what you want as you created what you want to do with your self-confidence. In what area do you want to be more confident? Is it in sales? Is it to meet new people? Is it to build a business? Is it to be a parent? Is it to be a better parent? Is it to be more balanced at home and at work? Put whatever your desired self-confident transition, write it now on the board. I am, put what you need to put there tonight. Now I want you to add another sentence that's really important. I want you to put on the board, I love myself. I am worth it. Put that on the board. I love myself. I am worth it. Now the next sentence is, I can do anything I put my mind to. Write that on the board. I can do anything I put my mind to. Now step back from your board and look at it. It's all written in permanent marker. Creating this image, creating this mindset for you right now is the ability that you have to construct and live the life that you want and the life you deserve. To be healthy, happy, successful at anything and everything you choose to do. And grateful and thankful for every experience of the past. Now as you forgive every mistake of the past and ever made in the person or the people that you need to forgive, you release out of your mind and understand that good must surely come to you. As you let yourself move forward, a greater understanding, a greater opportunity, free from negative conditioning, you are responding in a different way. Right in front of you, there is a life-size movie screen. And on the life-size movie screen is your role model. As you created that modeling of seeing who represents self-confidence for you, that person is on the movie screen. How does that person feel? How does that person think? Can you feel their confidence? Pretend that you're a human sponge and absorbing their self-confidence as your role model. Turn to that mindset. Every sound, every noise that you hear deepens your relaxation. The sound of my voice deepens your relaxation. As you turn and you look at that vision on that movie screen, watch them react the way you need to see yourself reacting in the situations that you want to be more confident in. Feel their charisma, their confidence. Now get up out of your chair, walk over that movie screen, step in that movie screen, and be you with their charisma, with your modeling of the self-confidence. Feel the energy. Take on what you think about that person and how they react in the situations you want to react the way they react in. Mind setting that image and feeling that confident mindset as we turbocharge your self-confidence. Creating a blueprint with the role modeling. And now going to repeat this technique to build inside of your own mindset a blueprint of confidence. Going to the phrase of a lot of energy and excitement. As you do so, you deliver to yourself a new pattern following the guidelines presented here, and you're going to do and feel. You are important to life. You live in a way that you approve of yourself and your confidence in your own judgment. You're honest and dependable. Your integrity is wholesome and complete expression. As you feel abundant courage and confidence in yourself, new dimensions and new doors open up to you. Opportunity stimulates you to achieve much more satisfaction than ever experienced before. Recognizing this dynamic change and in character, and develop a new appreciation and respect for yourself, and have faith and believe in you. Building your self-confidence. Your cup runneth over with strength, with power, with love. And as you hear my voice, feel the confidence, the charisma of that person in your role model. And go deeper and deeper. Relax. 7. Your body's floating on a cloud. Your eyelids are so relaxed, it's like they're glued shut. And that relaxation goes down the back of your neck, down your spine, down your legs, all the way to the bottom of your feet. And you go deeper and deeper. Relax. You realize now the power to express your self-confidence and acts as a powerful magnet to attract success and confidence in yourself. As you go deeper and deeper, you feel comfortable, safe, and secure. And go deeper. 7. Deeper. Every sound deepens your relaxation. All sounds fade away in the distance. 6. Deeper, deeper. 5, 4, 3. Deeper, deeper. 2, 1. Now allowing the law of attraction to be activated and strong within you toward a truly desire that you want. You know that your self-confidence is increasing by thinking power-generating thoughts. To think of yourself strong, resourceful, and self-reliant. Now is your inner consciousness of yourself as agreeable, graceful, and pleasant. A genuine interest in what you want. Listening and speaking with assurance. The quality of your voice expresses power, self-confidence, and caring. Well modulated in appearance and positive self-control, you. And as you accept yourself as a lovable person with the ability to express and receive love, you are unique. You have positive thoughts generating positive energy around you. You choose thoughts with positive attitude, directing them toward all positive feelings, listening to all feelings and all sounds. You respect yourself and realize that people accept you with a high regard. You have a high and honest opinion of yourself, and you expect respect and consideration of all people. People believe in you because now you believe in yourself, and you have the power to achieve. You continuously grow with self-confidence, courage, and strength. And every time you hear my voice, you go deeper and deeper. And every time you listen to a CD, it multiplies by 10. You express in your inner power of dynamic action of life. You realize a bright new life, more confident, more self-assured, a way of representing your self-confidence and the information through your self-inquiry and the dynamic belief in yourself. And you remember the things that you wrote down that you remember were positive about you. Remembering the good things, knowing that the good things strengthen you. The quality, accept the wonderful knowledge that now expresses a highest ideal. And dynamic believing yourself, self-confident, self-assured. Listen to my words. My words become your words. My thoughts become your thoughts. Because I'm a facilitator to guide you and help you. The awareness is a definite mental image of dynamic self-confidence, accepting, knowing, and realizing that you are a very special person. There is no one on this planet exactly like you. Believing in you, allowing yourself to feel, evaluating the mindset of your level of self-confidence raises up, and you turn up the dial and turn it all the way up to 10. Dial your self-confidence up higher and believing in yourself and the continued unwavering faith in yourself. Keep faithful, planting the seeds of self-confidence in your mind with your positive words, doubling in your subconscious mind, allowing it to maximize potential in your life. As you hear my voice, every time you see the color yellow in and out of your conscious mind, your outcome is that every time you see the color yellow, you feel strength, power flowing through your body and mind. You feel the strength, unwavering faith, keeping that mindset. You know and you believe. And every time you hear the letter D, every time you see the letter D, it's a sub-key word, discover. Anytime you think, say, see the word discover, all suggestions keyed to this word are automatically activated, stimulated, and work for your benefit. You're developing a process. As you develop the subconscious mindset of self-confidence through the discover process, you're going to feel the difference. You're going to know the difference. And being able to form the affirmations, you're acknowledging that you are perfect enough and recognize what that means for you and what you want to do it and where you want to activate it. At work, in your personal life, in relationships, wherever you need it, you can plug it in. Building that you. Strengthening your core. Any resistance to anything we did here today automatically triggers the subconscious mind to let it happen anyway, because you are the beneficiary. So knowing that everything we do in this room, everything we talk about, everything that you read, everything that you learn strengthens your core, and you feel the difference. You notice the difference. You become the difference, because it's your desire. Whatever you want, whatever you choose, you can do. I guarantee it. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 up to 3. When I say the number 3, you open your eyes, you feel refreshed, and you just feel good. 1, feel the energy coming from your feet, through your legs, through your body, all the way to the top of your head. On the next number, your eyes are clearing as if they are being bathed in a cool mountain stream. 2. On the next number, you open your eyes, you feel refreshed, and you just feel good. Get ready now. 3, open your eyes and allow yourself to be present in the room and feel good. That's what we do. That was almost 20 minutes. Uh-huh. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and go through the self-talk. Then we're going to do the boards for 2 tonight. We're going to do self-confidence and self-talk tonight, okay? So go ahead and listen on the self-talk. In your book, we have a lot of affirmations. What I suggest to people is getting index cards, put them on there, or copy it on something and cut them out. Put them on your mirror. One of my clients likes to do is they take a dry eraser and puts them on her mirror, because a dry eraser on mirror is erased just like on a dry erase board. I used to say use lipstick. That's really hard to get off. And someone suggested the dry erasers. So at the end of the chapter, there's some really good affirmations. I'm important to life. I have faith and I believe in myself. I accept my radiant vitality and boundless energy. I have high, honest opinion of myself. I now believe in myself and my power to achieve. There's a good page here. In your book, you get the first 2 keys from the Perfect Enough series. There's a talk CD that you can listen to in the car and the hypnosis one that goes with it. And then the talk CD for positive self.
Don't mix them up.
Yeah, don't mix them up. The talk CD for positive self-talk and the hypnosis one. So this week, take the opportunity to listen to the 2 talk CDs and go ahead and listen to the 2 hypnosis ones. Rotate one per night if you want to. Get them in your brain as we build this process, because we're going to actually formulate in the brain the whole Discover process, okay? So it would be helpful if you did go through those. So now we're on key 2. To think we're going to do the boards after we do that. Key 2. Key 2 is self-talk. We talked about this earlier. What is your self-talk in your head? A self that goes on changing, a self that goes on living. You know, our self-talk becomes what we are. Are we elevating how we think about ourselves? You know, think about this for a minute. It's really important. How many here were told that being selfish was a bad thing? So really, selfish is, I want to teach you that to be selfish is to take care of yourself. Be selfish, not to boast or be rude or anything like that, but to be selfish, to mindset yourself to create how you can take care of yourself. By taking care of yourself, you become able to take care of others, or to make the changes that you want in your life. It is about yourself, in your self-confidence, in the mindset of what you want, what you are. To create that mindset, you create your own reality with your words, with your thoughts. Everything you hear, everything you see, and everything that you feel is part of your programming. We take in, we see, say, and do somewhere in the neighborhood of 150,000 or 350,000 words and images a day. That's a lot of stuff. But you think about it, in a thought, creating the thought creates the image in your brain. You know, this creates your scale of judgment, your joy, your disappointment, your happy, sad, optimism, pessimism, belief, doubt, allow, worry, calm, anger, balance. Every word creates something. If I say the word joy, what comes to mind? Anybody want to share? What'd you say? What'd you say, Larissa?
To the world.
To the world? Joy to the music. You came up with a statement. Good. Anybody else have?
The color yellow.
The color yellow. Joy. The color joy. What comes to mind? Lake Summit keeps coming to my mind. That's one of my joy places. Plop plop. Fizz fizz. That was 20 years ago, guys. It's still in our heads. It hasn't been an ad on TV for 20 years.
That's amazing.
20 years. And how well we know that one, huh? What's the other one? E.F. Hutton? Everyone listens?
When E.F. Hutton speaks.
Everyone listens?
Oh gosh, that's old.
That one's, I think, 20 years old, too. Now, so every word in everything that you see, say, and do has an effect. Everything. So our self-talk, what goes on in your head when you talk to yourself? Are you empowering yourself? Are you insulting yourself? Are you saying things that are going to help you reach your goals? Are you sabotaging yourself? It's time to look at your self-talk and transform your talk to elevating with the Discover process. That's what we're doing here. We want to really get to the cause and effect of what you do. So decide to change. In a space provided, same thing we did with the last one. Do you demand perfection? Are your factors outside of your control? What words do you regularly say to yourself that are sabotaging you? Example, try, hope, problem, can't, not, bad, must, gotta, always, never, completely. Woulda, coulda, shouldas do that too. Begin with some form. I acknowledge that I am perfect enough. I recognize and embrace this opportunity to elevate my self-talk. What are you, write down right now, it's going to take just a couple minutes. What's something you say to yourself all the time that is negative, that is affecting you? Write it down. What do you want to get rid of tonight? What negative self-talk do you want to get rid of? What fears keep you from speaking positively about yourself? In your head or out loud. The profile of the fear includes the fear of sounding too positive or conceited. Where do your fears come from? When did they come into your life and why? You know, I attempt, but I'm only perfect enough, to be positive most of the time, but I'm not. I get negative thoughts about things. I really work on not entertaining them. I don't like listening to songs that have negative verbiage. Therefore, I listen to a lot of Kenny G that has no verbiage. My kids love Kenny G. I really do avoid the news as much as humanly possible. If I have some negative friends, I have one girlfriend that I used to be in a supper club with, and every time we go to supper club, the whole conversation is about what's wrong in the world we live in. You know, it's like, you know, really? And usually in that group of women, it's not reality because they all have great lives, but it's criticism about what could happen. What if? So it's hard sometimes to be exposed to negativity. I remember a couple trips ago, I went up to North Carolina to Lake Summit. And a friend of mine from Virginia came and brought a friend of hers. Another friend of mine brought a friend of hers. And I'm in the living room and I hear them in the kitchen talking politics. And I just thought, I didn't come up here for this. I really came just to not have a whole lot of negativity. I walked in and said, guys, can y'all go outside? If y'all want to talk anything negative, politics or any, because they were really arguing. They were having, I think when one was for some person, the other was for the other person, and they were like going at it. I go, in this house, we are only positive. Well, the one lady had never met me before, and she's looking at me going, this lady's strange. And the other one said, well, no, that's just Laura. Let's go outside. And then the rest of the weekend, they spent the weekend really attempting not to be negative. And at the end of the weekend, the one lady who's a friend of the one who lives here, she says, that was really kind of nice. I like that. Because it makes for a lot more fun. You know, because here's what happens. The fears and the things that we create is coming from something that we fear that's negative. So think about the fear of looking too positive or conceited. I had one client come to me, she's a dressage rider, and she does really well, but it seems like when she gets the highest score, she's like getting close, she does something like right at the end of her test to sabotage herself. So we were actually doing some of this work, and I was asking, well, what do you fear? And right out of her mouth came, because some of the people I know that are winners, they're awful, nobody likes them. I went, her fear, nobody was going to like her if she would win. Her fear was that she would be looked at like one of them. And that is huge in a lot of industries. Because what happens when someone is successful, they become what? Untouchable, they become arrogant, they become rude, or, you know, a lot of times that happens. Success sometimes isn't always making of a happy person sometimes. So in reality, that can cause a fear in somebody else. I had a client that was having a really hard time in sales. And she came in, she'd listened to the self-confidence CD, she'd listened to the sales CD, and she didn't have the money to come see me in a session. So I said, come to me when you make your first sale, you can pay me. So she comes in, and we're talking, I go, what do you think of a salesman? She goes, ooh, used car salesman. I never want to be one. And I go, well, I guess you're not going to ever be one until we change it. She ended up becoming the top sales where she was working, that the next year she started speaking about it, went around the career track teaching it. Now she's back working for a big company here, building her sales in another company. So it's getting rid of what you fear. It's getting rid of what's wrong, right? So everybody get what they're fearing most about their self-talk? The self-inquiry. Where have you been in your life where you felt like you were positive in your self-talk? Can you remember a time or a place where you actually spoke up for yourself and did positive self-talk for yourself? To generate positive thoughts that made you feel good, which produced positive thoughts from what you were doing. Go ahead, give yourself credit for positive thoughts and actions. How have you successfully, positively spoken about yourself in the past? I was in New York this last month in February and had an interview for a TV show. Now, I started thinking about it. I got a little nervous. What am I going to say? I thought, well, I'm just going to go and be who I am. What else am I, going to do? And I went, and my first approach, all of a sudden I got in conversation. I was comfortable. He said, well, what ideas? What can you do for a show? And I was like coming up with all these show ideas. Reboot with Laura is what the title that this other producer came up with. So that it's gone to like 2 levels right now. It's called Reboot with Laura. But when I first went and started communicating, it was like he's asking me all these questions about what I do, and I felt like I was being too positive. I felt like I was saying too much positive, but Lisa, this other friend of mine who did the Discover process and actually has helped me a lot with PR in New York, she was egging me on, so I did tell the true story. In reality, it was just the truth. And I say it like this, that I'm just a facilitator. Therefore, I'm doing it, paying it forward. So to think about how I approach my self-inquiry, it was about telling stories. What are stories? Metaphors. Do you know how we learn the most information in our brain, and the easiest thing to change is to get a metaphor? Your brain will associate. If it can see the image of how to do something, to be self-confident or be positive with your self-talk, then it can mimic it. We have mirror neurons in our brain, and we mirror that we're exposed to. So if there's anything negative, the exposure of the negative is going to reproduce the negative, isn't it? Because you're going to mirror it. That's the pure science of it. So to think about how you want to approach this is the mindset of the belief system. So you really have to think of your words. Your words become the most important part of what you do. So as we want to give exercises for the conscious level, because I like doing both, evaluating your self-talk. How does it need to be changed? What does your self-talk need to change about? Work, yourself, your environment. What is your talk that needs to change? You know what is one of the worst things that we do as human beings is criticize another person. Because when we criticize that other person, that verbiage goes into our brain, and 88% of our brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So if you have a negative opinion about somebody or something somebody has or whatever, it goes into the subconscious mind and creates that same damn negative energy. So it is really to neutralize having that negative opinion about that person. You know, someone was saying something to me the other day about someone in their life, and I said, every human being has their life experiences that cause them to act how they do. I've had a heck of a life. And, you know, I tell my story all the time. You have a book perfect enough here to read. The story is in there. Hypnosis is what saved my life and got me through a lot of difficult times. My children have heard my story, and in the last, years of my life, I've used all these tools. I learned them from Dorothy back in my 30s, and then I became a hypnotherapist in my 40s. So changing sometimes becomes the knowledge of what you want to change. And as we learn that, do I have a negative opinion about some people that I know? Yeah, but I really work on accepting them for who they are. Every human being is a sum total of their life experiences. We don't know what their internal fear is, like Mark and I were saying earlier about whether the person's going to like you when you walk into a cold call. Now that comes from something from childhood. So we don't know how every person reacts and why they react that way. But if you have criticism about it, what is that criticism doing in your brain? It's giving you the same effect. So I say we have to let go of all of it, controlling your internal, external dialogue through cancel and snap it. Now, snap is where you wear a rubber band and you snap it to get pain to the negative thought. Cancel is the word that I teach so that you have something to cancel it. Erase it, cancel it. Do whatever you need to do to cancel that negative self-talk. Have some action and reaction. Because what you're doing is that you have to change. Changing your self-talk, there are two ways to eliminate negative self-talk. One is through the process of commonly referred to thought stopping. Become aware of it, stop the negative, replace with the positive, repeat the act, stopping the negative thought. The cancel, the snap it is the rubber band, and really work on then improving your auto-suggestions. Have people list all the negative things you say all the time, come up with the one to overcome it. You have to come up with a replacement. This is where I teach people about the purple elephant. What in the heck is a purple elephant? Absolutely nothing. I don't know if he's my next slide or not. Oh. Becoming aware. So you want to stop it and change it. Be realistic when you start coming up with your affirmations to change it. You want to come up with realistic mindset. The subconscious mind doesn't realize the concept of impossible. Did you know that? Because it doesn't know the difference. That anything, 5 areas to avoid. Avoid working on the mind of another. You can't change somebody else. A person has to do themselves. Avoid attempting to change the order or progression of time. You can't change what's happened in your life. You can't change the timing. Avoid thinking that you can call upon knowledge or information, experience that you don't have. Because the mindset is that you have to regulate that belief system. Like if someone comes to me and says, hypnotize me to play the piano, and they don't know how to play the piano, I can't hypnotize them to play the piano. But if they go take piano lessons, I can hypnotize them to learn it easier. So avoid attempting to make physical changes that are physically impossible, like someone can't grow a new limb. You can't do things impossible. Avoid manipulating that of which is beyond your control, the weather. Phrase everything in the present tense. I am, the now of what we want to do. Always complete, non-resistant, positive approach. State your objectives clearly. Make sure, stress the activity, visualize, symbolize. These are all exercises that you learn to handle situations and to come up with positive thoughts. Because the concept of what you want to do is reframe so your future can change. You speak well of others and their life in the future. Modeling positive self-talk. It's like modeling the person that you know that speaks well. The positive self-talk, how someone else speaks about the future. As we go through that process, your mind lets you regulate that image. so your self-talk becomes better. Now we turbocharge it with hypnosis. So you have the self-hypnosis CD to take home that helps you change your self-talk. And you model that. And then you come up with images that create the way you want that belief system to be. So we have 30 more minutes. I want y'all all to work on your boards. Let's take 30 minutes. We have lots of magazines. And I work on the self-confidence, work on the self-talk. What I did with one of my boards is I took the stuff that I had in my booklet and I wrote out some of the words, the markers. We've got permanent markers here. We have glue and scissors. We'll pass them out. Yes. Oh. Now we're doing our boards.